Oh yeah. Uh, Happy New Year. This is the part where I'm supposed to tell you what I've been up to, I think. But since nothing really interesting has happened, I'll just tell you what happened. Um, let's see. I went to a party, got to see some fireworks. That was cool. My New Year's resolution is I have the desire to spend any time pooping as peacefully as possible. Whether that mean no cell phone or telling people who like to walk in on me while I'm pooping to not do that anymore. Yeah. I think I might try to limit computer time. The only issue is that the majority of my work comes through my computer, so I kind of have to be on it. But maybe restrict myself to certain hours of the day to search for jobs and stuff, while the rest of the time I'm going to try to be more creative. Perhaps work on some new music. Been really thinking about getting a guitar again. Maybe writing some music. That would be cool. So yeah, that's kind of, I think, how things are coming as far as the new year is concerned. I guess on that note, story time. I'm going to tell you a story. One of my viewers has suggested some literature. The name of this story is Pig. It's by Roald Dahl. He wrote Charlie and the Chocolate Factory and several other very famous books. I hope you enjoy. Once upon a time, in the city of New York, a beautiful baby boy was born into this world, and the joyful parents named him Lexington. No sooner had the mother returned home from the hospital carrying Lexington in her arms than she said to her husband, "Darling, now you must take me out to a most marvelous restaurant for dinner so that we can celebrate the arrival of our son and heir." Her husband embraced her tenderly and told her that any woman who could produce such a beautiful child as Lexington deserved to go absolutely anywhere she wanted. But was she strong enough yet, he inquired, to start running around the city late at night? No, she said, she wasn't. But what the hell? So that evening they both dressed themselves up in fancy clothes, and leaving little Lexington in the care of a trained infant's nurse who was costing them $20 a day and was Scottish into the bargain, they went out to the finest and most expensive restaurant in town. There they each ate a giant lobster and drank a bottle of champagne between them. And after that, they went on to a nightclub, where they drank another bottle of champagne and then sat holding hands for several hours while they recalled and discussed and admired each individual physical feature of their lovely newborn son. They arrived back at their house on the east side of Manhattan at around 2 o'clock in the morning, and the husband paid off the taxi driver and then began feeling in his pockets for the key to the front door. After a while, he announced that he must have left it in the pocket of his other suit, and he suggested that they ring the bell and get the nurse to come down and let them in. An infant's nurse at $20 a day must expect to be hauled out of bed occasionally in the night, the husband said. So he rang the bell. They waited. Nothing happened. He rang it again, long and loud. They waited another minute. Then they both stepped back onto the street and shouted the nurse's name, Mick Pottle, up at the nursery window on the third floor. but there was still no response. The house was dark and silent. The wife began to grow apprehensive. Her baby was imprisoned in this place, she told herself, alone with McPottle. And who was McPottle? They had known her for 2 days, and that was all. And she had a thin mouth, a very disapproving eye, and a starchy bosom, and quite clearly she was in the habit of sleeping too soundly for safety. If she couldn't hear the front doorbell, then how on earth did she expect to hear a baby crying? Why, this very second the poor thing might be swallowing its tongue or suffocating on its pillow. "He doesn't use a pillow," the husband said. "You are not to worry, but I'll get you in if that's what you want." 1 second. I forgot about the loud hum of my power machine. I wanted to make sure it was turned off. "You are not to worry, but I'll get you in if that's what you want," he said. He was feeling rather superb after all the champagne, and now he bent down and undid the laces of one of his black patent leather shoes and took it off. Then, holding it by the toe, he flung it hard and straight through the dining room window on the ground floor. "There you are," he said, grinning. "We'll deduct it from McPottle's wages." He stepped forward and very carefully put a hand through the hole in the glass and released the catch. Then he raised the window. "I shall lift you in first, little mother," he said, and took his wife around the waist and lifted her off the ground. This brought her big red mouth up level with his own, and very close. So he started kissing her. He knew from experience that women like very much to be kissed in this position, with their bodies held tight and their legs dangling in the air. So he went on doing it for quite a long time, and she wiggled her feet and made loud gulping noises down her throat. Finally, the husband turned her round and began easing her gently through the open window into the dining room. At this point, a police patrol car came nosing silently along the street towards them. It stopped about 30 yards away, and 3 cops of Irish extraction leaped out of the car and started running in the direction of the husband and wife, brandishing revolvers. "Stick 'em up!" the cops shouted. "Stick 'em up!" But it was impossible for the husband to obey this order without letting go of his wife, and had he done this, she would have either fallen to the ground or would have been left dangling half in and half out of the house, which is a terribly uncomfortable position for a woman. So he continued gallantly to push her upward and inward through the window. The cops, all of whom had received medals before for killing robbers, opened fire immediately, and although they were still running, and although the wife in particular was presenting them with a very small target indeed, they succeeded in scoring several hits on each body, sufficient anyway to prove fatal in both cases. Thus, when he was no more than 12 years old, little Lexington became an orphan. That concludes story time, at least for now. I'll tell more parts of the story as time comes. Soon. Oh, also, I'm going to try to keep up this blog a little bit better. And I just realized that I also changed my hair color. So that's kind of cool too. And one more thing happened. Jesse got a PlayStation 4. So we've been playing too many video games. Yay! 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 Lion.